Hi there, this is Dr. Roger Duncan, and I am the founder and chairperson of the Healthcare and Science Career Symposium for T. Leroy Jefferson Medical Society. This is the 9th annual event that we have had. And just after coming off the heels of a fantastic event this past year with Dr. David Satcher, the former U.S. Surgeon General and head of the CDC and head of Health and Human Services, with over 1,000 kids and participants, we have had the very interesting situation of running into this COVID outbreak, which meant a lot of rethinking and revamping of how we could keep the same fidelity and wonderful career exploration opportunity available for all of these students and all of the exhibitors to tell us about all these fantastic careers that kids can get into. And so the committee has put their brains together and a lot of legwork in coming up with a fantastic idea of having everything virtually. And these 10 to 15 minute video vignettes that we are putting together will be in a library format that all of you students and others will be able to peruse through and gain all that knowledge about dozens and dozens and dozens of careers that could be your life's work. We really want you guys to take advantage of this. A lot of hard work and energy has gone into making them accessible to you all, and it's really incumbent upon you guys to drink all of this information up. Our exhibitors really care about you guys and want you guys to learn, want you to succeed, and please, please take advantage of this. And also, as I always say, recognize the importance of education. We need to step it up on all of our science and math and everything that we challenge ourselves to take it to the highest level. The global stage is very competitive, and hopefully by you hearing some of these very cool career options and what it's going to take to get you into those fields, that will inspire you to work twice as hard to gain that knowledge so you can be a superstar and do whatever you would wish to in the future. So please drink all this knowledge up, and so that you can be the superstars and healthcare stars and science and healthcare professionals of the future. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gordon Johnson, and I'm a pathologist. A pathologist is a medical doctor that studies disease. I'm here today to visit with you about a career opportunity, about a career. What does a career mean? A career is a path or progress through life or history. It's an occupation or a profession that you choose as your life's work. This can be in agriculture, the arts, education, government, hospitality, information systems, manufacturing, science and technology, engineering, mathematics, health. All of these are career opportunities. But why should one pursue one? Let's talk about life for a minute. Life is this very special quality. Unfortunately, it produces a few problems like love and responsibility. So you must become a productive human if you're going to participate in life to its fullest. And that's what we're talking about. A career, a productive human participating in life to its fullest. Life the ability to metabolize, to adapt, to reproduce, maintain a harmonious open system. That's all about life, mankind, animals, complexity. What differentiates us humans from other forms of life? One of the things is complexity. Another is collective knowledge. So we have the ability to think, put things together, and pass it down through the generations. I'm going to tell you about life, my opportunities, my long careers, and my short little careers, and how through life it's influenced me. And that way you'll get an idea about the many career opportunities you're going to experience throughout life, as well as you're going to learn about because people want to share these things with you. I started out as a young boy as a rock collector. They called it rock hounding. I was kind of an amateur geologist. Years later, I became a lab assistant in geology at the university, and I had never taken geology, but I knew enough about it just from that experience that I knew I liked it. I went into expeditions hunting crystals. I went into mines. I learned about mining. I did all that, but that's not what I wanted to be. So I experienced it, but I moved on. I became a shoe shine boy at 11, and I shined shoes for 7 years in one of the most racist areas you could imagine. I grew up in El Reno, Oklahoma. I couldn't eat in my hometown in a restaurant till I was 14 years old. You weren't allowed to sit down in the restaurants. The schools were segregated till I was in the 9th grade. The stores wouldn't hire any of the black kids or people to work in them. That just was not done. And my mom always comforted me by saying, I'm glad they won't give you a job at that because you might become satisfied. So anyway, this is where I grew up, shining shoes in an all-white barber shop for 7. I've learned more about people than you would ever imagine. And those were good people. Systemically racist, but good people. They're not mutually exclusive. Remember that. So I learned to save, and I saved my money. I saved $5 a week starting at 10 years old. So that should tell you something about me. I then, because I got paid money as a shoe shine boy, I got coins, and I started to notice some of the coins had old dates. So I became a coin collector, a numismatist. And I would collect coins, and I would share them with the local coin dealer, and I became somewhat of a merchant. I'd buy for one price, sell for another. And I did this, and I learned about money just like I did in the shoe shine business. So this was an opportunity. There was one coin collector in town that had a shop. That's not much of an opportunity. So I wasn't going to be a coin collector. I collected butterflies. I studied them. I studied entomology, the study of insects, lepidopterology, the study of butterflies. And I loved that, and it strengthened my love for biology. I took up the piano for a short period because my mom insisted, and I also played the trumpet. I had a love for music, but I wasn't good at it. I just couldn't. I have a son who's a concert violinist. I kind of think he got it from me because I love music so much, but my wife does have a doctorate in music, so, well, the jury's still out on that. But I went to every concert twice when I was in medical school. Every symphony performance. I love music, but I wasn't good at music. With science weighing heavily on my mind, I started to read Galileo and his theories on how the earth was actually revolving around the sun, not the sun revolving around the earth. And he was not considered an outcast for these views. So you see how you're not always viewed as right. But I loved him, and I made my first telescopes when I was young because of what he was doing. And later on in life, I went on to commission telescopes built in the county I was in to teach astronomy, and I started the Astronomical Society of Jefferson County, Missouri. I got a job in a drugstore when I was still in high school, first part of going to the community college. And there I met a pharmacist, and I learned about pharmacy. That was an interesting, very interesting thing that played a role in my life. So there was another discipline, another profession. In the community college, where I was a student, I also got a job as an ambulance driver at the local hospital, and also an orderly that took care of patients. And I went and picked up people who had been in auto accidents kind of before they had paramedics and people that really know what they are doing. I was kind of a novice at it, but at that time, that's who did it. I went on to Southwestern Oklahoma State University, which was primarily known for pharmacy, where I studied chemistry, biology, became a lab assistant, and learned to run an instrument called nuclear magnetic resonance spectrophotometry, where I learned all the precursor conditions to what now is the MRI in radiology. I got into medical school and thought I wanted to be an obstetrician gynecologist. So for almost 2 years, I was moonlighting, delivering babies and working in hospitals, and I delivered hundreds, if not thousands, of babies. It was wonderful, but that's not really what I wanted to do. So I finally did a residency after medical school in pathology, which is the study of disease, and it's divided into human biochemistry, which I loved, microbiology, the study of organisms, which I love, the blood bank, human blood bank, and the ability to give transfusions and give someone else blood that needs it, and hematology, the study of the blood cells themselves. In addition, this particular discipline covers anatomic pathology, the study of specimens, everything that comes out of anyone, as well as autopsy pathology. So with autopsy pathology, the study of the body, that gets into forensic medicine and the medical examiner's work. So that was something else I did on the side and I was interested in. And it was a lot. It was interesting and a lot of fun. While in residency, I also took up wine collecting. I didn't have much money, but I started to study it, read about it. I started to know what I could buy at one price and sell at another, and eventually, after maybe a year or so into this, I was buying for some of the major restaurants. So look this up, fact check me. I bought the 1975 Petrus, Petrus, for $17.70 a bottle. $17.70 a bottle. Look at what that is now. I used to buy all the first gross. My first job after pathology residency was in small towns. I visited small towns, and I was a pathologist at several small towns, a couple of larger hospitals, but none of the towns except for one in St. Louis, the other towns were fairly small. I flew to work. I had a pilot, so I'd fly to work about 3 days a week, And I'd sit there and I got to looking at the pilot thinking, this guy smokes. What if he has a heart attack or something while we're up here in this 310 Cessna twin-engine plane? So I had him teach me how to fly it. So I flew in the left side, which is where the pilot sits, and he flew in the right side and slept, and I learned and flew back and forth several times a week. It was fun. I never pursued that, but again, it's something that's not hard to do. These are all, I'm not that smart, okay? These are all things you can do. You just have to do them. My first job with the group lasted about 2.5 years before I went on to be the chair of pathology at one of those hospitals. So the town got much larger and the hospital got larger. So I moved there and became the chairman of pathology and also the chief medical examiner of that county. So I had 2 jobs. The medical examiner is the one that goes in when somebody has died a questionable death and looks inside the body and determines the path of bullets and the blood spatter on the walls and how surrounds, just basically describes the circumstances of death for law enforcement, judiciary, and the lawyers. So that was another thing I did. So I did those 2 things. While in those positions, I became a spokesperson for the College of American Pathologists, also the secretary treasurer of the Political Action Committee. I eventually became a lobbyist and did work for the AMA and the College of American Pathologists, an inspector for the College of American Pathologists. And I was also director of the medical technology program in St. Louis at the community college program. I've had a lot of great opportunities, and I've touched on a lot of different careers. For me, a lot of them were just, I brushed by these things. I did them. I loved them. Some of them you can actually go into and make a living. Others you don't do. You develop a long-term plan and you look at these and sometimes you change your career and you move in another direction. My younger brother has done everything from personnel management to actually figuring out what goes down in oil wells to make the oil come up. They call it fluid engineering. So he went back to school for that. So there are all these things we can do, all of these wonderful opportunities. So here's what I want you to focus on and think about. We live in a time where you're going to be exposed to a lot of things, and there are going to be a lot of great opportunities. Get busy looking at them, checking them out. Have fun just learning about every different thing, and you might find something that you attach to where you make a living, you communicate, you are productive to society, you do what life is all about, and at the same time, living this great and wonderful life, you never worked. Because if you do something you enjoy, you'll never work a day in your life. Another thing I want you to think about and remember as you get busy, resentment and self-pity are 2 of the most toxic of drugs. Don't participate in resentment and self-pity. Move forward. You have a wonderful opportunity. The world is at your hands. Go take it. Another thing. Remember this. Some people aren't going to like you. I don't care what you do. They just aren't going to like you. You're a good person. You know who you are. You do what you need to move forward, and don't worry about them. At first, it's a burden that they don't like you as much as you try. But after a while, there's a certain calmness that comes about. Another thing, remember I told you I saved money as a shoe shine boy? Save some money. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. There are many, many ways to go broke. The career is what you're going to do throughout life. It might be chopped up into a bunch of different things. But overall, be productive. Be what life is all about. Be full of life. Be creative. Be loving. Be someone that contributes to society. At some point, I'd love to talk to you about life in general and what it all means. It's not the place for today, but think about those careers and how you're going to move forward with that. Thank you, and I'll see you around.